Welcome to the Comfortable in Chaos Podcast. Strangle your demons and let's go.
Y'all need Jesus!
Some people call me the space cowboy. Yeah, some call me the gangster of love. Man, I love the Joker and I love Steve Miller. I'm not feeling that though. How about this? Everywhere around the world, they're coming to America. We know they still are, aren't they? From all over the world. They're all coming to this great racist country. My gosh, slavery is thriving on the continent of Africa. Countless civil wars. Also in the Middle East, slavery still exists to this very day. We're not even going to get into child slavery, trafficking. We've done episodes on that. But everyone is still coming to America, the place of the outlaw white man. All right, how about we lead in with a different song? If you know this classic, go ahead and sing it with me. A one, a two, a 1, 2, 3. I'm proud to be a white veteran in a land that used to be free. And I'm proud of all my fellow whiteys who died for people that don't look like thee. And I'll proudly stand up next to them and defend her still today. Because without the white veteran, we'd be eating Wiener Schnitzel and sushi. How about that one, guys? Welcome to the Comfortable in Chaos Podcast. I am your host, Eric Hellberg, and you know we're like Einstein over here, man. We don't have any special talents. We're just passionately curious about all things pertaining to men, yes, even white men. How in the hell did we get here, and where is it that we want to go? I tell you what, guys, no country and our military has always had an infusion of people from all over the world fighting on America's behalf. All races, all colors, all religions. But the disproportionate number of dead veterans are Caucasian. Please don't ever forget that. White people from America have died for more people that do not look like them all over this globe than anyone else. So if you don't like this country, although everyone is still clamoring to get here despite our problems, you can get the mother out of here now. Get out. So let's move on. We know that Hunter Biden is on trial, and I think I misspoke an episode or two ago. Said he'd be back on the Hill. Man, I knew his trial was starting. I knew it was a federal gun charge, therefore I just made the wrong correlation. That trial is actually in Delaware. And in fact, they've been having jury selection, and they are having a very tough time. Because who wants to go against that Biden family so entrenched in Delaware? But did you know what they're doing? They're stacking the deck. And you're like, well, how are they stacking the deck, Eric? Well, you know, they have to form a jury pool, and they need to form a jury pool that is going to come up with a verdict that is supportive of the Bidens. More specifically, that will allow Hunter Biden to stay free. I mean, by all accounts, he could be charged with possibly 106 different crimes. But did you know one of the jurors, despite having family who currently works for the Department of Justice, I'm not going to tell you the agency, they've been allowed to be on. Did you know that there is a Another juror who is now going to be part of the pool, who used to work for the Secret Service and whose husband still does. My God. Okay. Well, that would be what we would say is coercive control. You are going to vote and or decide exactly how we want because we still have a stranglehold on your career. We still have a stranglehold on your paycheck. And we can put our thumb right on top of you, right? So that's what's going on over there. It is really, really strange to me. On one hand, in New York, you had a judge presiding over, not deciding in the form of a juror, but who had complete control of a trial, a known Democratic operative, sympathizer, collaborator, policy shaper, despite sitting on a bench. In fact, the whole family, whereby the aim of that trial was to convict President Trump, Republican, convict. We had to find the man guilty. But now in the state of Delaware, the Democrats and the apparatus are working extremely hard on the other side of the spectrum to control the outcome so that they can acquit. And isn't it amazing the difference between the Republican Party and the Democratic Party of today, at least for the good Republicans? We are now outlaws and have to be castigated because, no, not because we want to convict, but because we want to have convictions, beliefs, ideals, mores, morals. And that doesn't come from inside of us. It comes from the good Lord above. Without an absolute, a man is lost. But on the other side of the house, you have the Democrats. And their message is always to acquit. What do they want? Allowances. They want to be allowed to conduct themselves, do whatever it is they want, act however they want, shove it down our throats, and we're supposed to just simply be content, or else we're racists. Or whatever else, bigoted toward this, bigoted toward that. Do you see where I'm going with this? And I tell you, for this racist nation that is becoming increasingly more hateful toward white men, without white men, you would not have this nation. And I think we have talked about that ad nauseum. But as far as white privilege and white people being bad, you've got old Joe up there. He was just in France, right? He was there supposedly celebrating the few white men that fought for the world's freedoms. We forget about that, right? Hell, they were looking better in the audience, those that are still there, than Joe was. We know that Joe bent down, grabbed his stomach. We think he shit his pants. Oh, yeah. Macron had to go intermingle and meet the remaining veterans, while Jill and the Secret Service ushered Joe to get a change of clothes and all that good stuff. This has happened before. Now the liberal media is going to say, you can't prove that. Well, you're right. You won't allow us to prove that, but we can certainly suspect it, and we have heard that this is a recurring thing. And this is nothing against Joe. The guy's just long been unfit for office. He's 81 years old. And we know that after 80, 30% of our elders are incontinent. I'm going to be there too. This doesn't disparage them at all. Hell, I used to run nursing homes for a living. Don't tell me about that, okay? I've been knee deep in the poop and the pee and the vomit and everything else known to man. But that is something that tends to happen. And if you marry it with a modicum of senility, well, then the recurrence goes up exponentially. And we know that Joe has all of that. But I'm just wondering, he's a white man. No one decried him getting in. And now that we have Hunter on his federal gun charge going on trial, we're now forming a friendly jury to him. Is Hunter the product of white privilege? You gays, you blacks, you Muslim Democrats, is he the recipient of white privilege? I mean, the man videoed himself. We now know that the laptop is 100% true. He videoed himself smoking crack, had a gun in there as well, had an underage girl who looks extremely young. So I'm wondering if the reason that Hunter has been allowed to proceed as long as he has, well, maybe it is white privilege, huh? But you don't mind that white privilege. In fact, this has nothing to do about racism. You just need the people in charge because you will take orders and or listen to anyone who will allow you to be as lascivious and demented as you will like. It has nothing to do with race. And since we are talking about race, here's what I'm going to say. I think we need to tone down the fires just a little bit. So what I am declaring now that my son just got out of school, I'm feeling pretty good. I want to hearken back to the days of old. And you're going to say, son of a bitch, Eric, you can't say that. Oh, yes, I can. Because without the cooperation of Muslims, and I will say Muslims from Pakistan, I probably wouldn't be able to do this message. In fact, I have had Muslims from Pakistan, despite coming from the same country, drop a dime on their hated Hindu brethren. Right? India, Pakistan used to be one country. It got separated after the British in 1948. Okay, now they're all mortal enemies. I've done episodes on that too. And let's see. So I've been aided by Muslims, some of which I still have friends. Let's see. In fact, I've even, since we've mentioned Pakistan, let's just say guys that were in the ISI, but they knew because they had a modicum of integrity. They couldn't stay over there. Now they're in the Bay Area of California. I've worked with those guys. Let's see. I've been down in Miami where Cubanos drop the dime on Puerto Ricanos and vice versa. Okay, those are brown-skinned people, but I'm friends with them. Let's see. I would have frozen to death a couple of nights without old Specialist Shegog out of Tupelo, Mississippi. His skin was darker than mine. I was curled up as tight with him. Then probably I've held my own son and daughter. All right, we got all that. Let's see, I have drank a Schlitz malt liquor on Rosecrans in Compton before, and 2 days later they shot the place up. We were all good. Okay, don't tell me about people of color and getting along and walking amongst people and this and that. This is all fabricated bullshit. So simply to contradict this month-long debacle of Pride Month, and we know the LGBTQ, ABCD movement, whatever the hell that is, mixed with BLM, et cetera, et cetera. So we need something to combat this. And we know that the devil is the father of all lies. He takes whatever is good. Yes, thank you, white man. And then what he does is he counterfeits it, and there you go. There's your end result. So I'm going to hearken back to when I was a kid, and I was laying on the floor of my Sicilian great-grandparents. Now, they actually had a little bit of skin color to them, too. My gosh, I guess that's ethnicity just abounds everywhere. Are we white? What are we white? Is it white? Beats the hell out of me. But here we go. I remember watching that show, The Jeffersons. That was one they particularly loved. And man, I loved it when George Jefferson, did you know I was never offended, and I am supposedly a white boy. I was laying there on the floor, rolling along on the ottoman. My Sicilian great-grandfather's like, son of a bitch, Eric, I'm going to give you a scorcher. Cut that rolling out. All right, so I would have to listen. But one thing I enjoyed was hearing George Jefferson call Tom a honky. And did you know he would call Tom and Helen in their unification there, because that was a interracial marriage, he would call them a zebra. No one decried racism back then. I mean, George was calling Tom a honky. I actually love the word honky. I think it's funny as hell. So in honor of the Jeffersons, and in the honor of George Jefferson, and in honor of the white veteran that has saved the world and is still, the white veterans out there fighting everywhere, right? Or is this a coordinated effort to kill the white veteran? All the dudes in Russia are white. All the people in Ukraine are white. Maybe that's food for thought. I know we spent 20-something years in the Middle East. Predominantly when you get into the combat arms applications, predominantly white soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines doing the fighting. Of course, we have them from all over. Maybe I need to develop that idea. But in honor of these white travelers, I am declaring the rest of this summer White Boy Summer. WBS. So, white man, here's what I'd like you to do. Toast all your friends who are of color, because I know that you have them, because you are conscientious and well-meaning. And I want you to barbecue. I want you to kick back with your kids and watch movies. I want you to throw the baseball. I want you to go to the beach. I don't want you to be at the beach and have your wife in a burqa while you're in Speedos, right? Because this is in honor of the white man. So from now on, it is White Boy Summer, and I will let us know when we're going to conclude it, probably sometime around the end of August. So until next time on the Comfortable in Chaos podcast, I'm proud to be a white veteran in a land that used to be free.
Until next time, like and subscribe to the Comfortable in Chaos podcast.